Mark, 15 seconds until airtime.
Oregon is going to the Final Four.
The following is a Learfield presentation of the Oregon Sports Network.
And Oregon is going to play in the national championship game.
Welcome to Duck Insider.
Man, it feels great to be a Duck.
Give it to me, baby. My house. I'm taking it there.
Their competitors, they'll want to put the O on.
Three, got it!
We're going to compete to a standard every day.
The Oregon standard.
Rebound. Up and in. 1 point more to go.
The opportunity to play, put Oregon on your chest, should mean a great deal to you.
Unloads on one into left field, back toward the wall. Gone!
This program is staged to compete and to win championships.
Oregon wins!
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Better banking, local solutions. Live from the Country Financial Studio, let's talk Oregon athletics.
Boy, we got a full house today. Jordan Brenner, Jerry Allen, happy to be with you. Duck Insider and the Country Financial Studio, brought to you as always by On Point Community Credit Union. Before we get to, I'll tease it, an athletic director Tuesday. A couple news and notes to hit off the top, and I want to start with women's basketball. The postseason for the WNBA starts tomorrow.
Postseason.
Wow. So we have the Liberty and the Sky, the 7 and the 2. That's 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 o'clock here on the West Coast. ESPN 2 to watch Sabrina and Ruthie in the postseason. Then the Dallas Wings at the Connecticut Sun. That'll be a 5 p.m. start on, looks like that's a Thursday game. I'll have to double check. I'll get back to you, but that one's on ESPN NBA TV. Pretty cool to see those Ducks thriving, about to be on the biggest stage. Pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a representation of what is the brand of Oregon, and it continues on after they leave school. I was watching Sabrina the other day, and it just made me think, go back to my days. She reminds me so much when I used to watch Michael Jordan play, because she can just do it all. She just does everything, and she does it with such ease, and that was him. So that made me feel kind of cool. We got our own Michael Jordan.
That's right, and those players seem to take it to another level in the postseason. I know she's humming along right now. I'm excited to see what she does tomorrow. Secondarily, good news, the AFCA volleyball polls coming out today, and the Ducks debuting at 19. I think that could go up too. Talking about the addition of a transfer from Washington State in Hannah Pukas, maybe the best setter in the Pac-12, adding her to Coach Ulmer's already terrific squad, one of 7 Pac-12 teams in the top 25. That's going to be a loaded schedule, and good to see Oregon volleyball recognized at this point in the season, but you got to go live, got to play. We'll see if they can
and that's
do it.
why the Pac-12 is so respected, because they're really top to bottom. So every time you have a match in the Pac-12, you're repping yourself and getting ready for the postseason, and that's great volleyball on the West Coast.
Well, we're talking about the greatness of the Ducks holistically across the board. I think that's a perfect transition to bring in Senior Associate Athletic Director
He's had too much
H.J.
tequila
Cohn.
already, if he's thinking that. Jeez, it's only 1 o'clock. Take it easy.
How are things?
Awesome.
What's on your desk?
We got it just feels like, and I was talking to Jerry a little bit about this at football practice the other day, and you guys bring up a great point that I'll talk a little bit about here in a second is, everyone is certainly excited about football, fall, August, camp reports and whatnot, but then you factor in volleyball rankings coming out, and you factor in men's basketball going on a foreign tour, first time in a while to be able to do that. Women's basketball, just talked with some of them and the culture they have, and they feel like they've really got a good foundation again, and not to say that they ever lost it completely, but when you do have Sabrina, Satu, and Ruthie, that's a hard foundation to play off of or follow up, if you will. It's like me speaking after Jerry on a stage. It's hard to follow, but we have something going on all the time. And so, again, I know there's so many eyeballs on Georgia, and whatever. And but the fall sports as a whole, and then transitioning into winter earlier than normal with the basketball programs, particularly men's basketball going up to Canada on that foreign tour.
Now, you're a senior associate athletic director now, but you came up through the ranks as a DAF. member of it. So you know how important it is when you're talking to donors and trying to raise funds to talk about the entire big picture, not just football. And you just mentioned how much there is to talk about, and we didn't even talk about track and field.
Well, I think the power of sport as a whole is mesmerizing to me, and I always use this analogy of, our country, regardless of what state we're in right now. After 9/11, I'll never forget this. I got chills watching, and I get it every time talking about it. Is the president of the United States throwing out the first pitch at Yankee Stadium after 9/11? Oh yeah. And it was like, I don't care what our country's going through, whatever we were divided on, they came together. And where I'm going with that is, I'm guessing, there was too many New York Liberty fans 2 years ago, or Atlanta Falcons fans in Eugene or Portland or Oregon last year, and the list goes on and on, sure. Right? And that all stems from here, right? The Ducks, and what the power of sport can create, particularly in our state and as Ducks. And we're fortunate to have an alumni base and a support base around the country, a national one that we see when we travel quite a bit. But when you think about it, and we're talking about the WNBA playoffs and us pulling for our girls, and I say it like that, our girls, and it's really cool.
So that, to me, that you talk about what the O means, why it's so special, I just can't help but think about some of the sales pitch that you have to make, and it seems like a pretty easy one because it all comes back home to Eugene. It's all, when they say Oregon is a national brand, it means that Ducks support Ducks everywhere. Everybody's united coming back to this place here. So I imagine that's kind of what you're selling people on when you're bringing people into the Duck Athletic Fund.
Yeah, and selling certainly from a industry standpoint, if we are certainly asking people for their support. And that can consist of a number of ways. I mean, that's a private donation, that's purchasing season tickets, that's hosting an event, attending an event. There's so many different ways that can fall on. I don't think it's selling. It's honestly reminding, and for the most part, it's alumni. Right.
Sure.
I'm fortunate enough to come from a family, and some of our colleagues, they come from multiple generations of Ducks. And so when I talk to my dad, I occasionally call my dad, and when I'm not having trouble necessarily, but have a question of, hey, what's your sense on this? You're a different generation Duck. You've certainly seen it change quite a bit. Kind of like Jerry, when you've been here for 75 years, you have seen it change drastically. But I think it's really important to factor that in. I mean, I know what the toilet bowl means, but I've also worked here for 13 years. And my dad remembers those days, and those fans remember those days where you just come into Autzen and the kids run around in the end zone on the bleachers and call it good, and that's the babysitting service, and you're going to watch some football for a little bit. So when you talk about selling, I think it's actually just tying it back to what we do here and the impact college athletics has. And I know that's a whole nother story right now with the state of college athletics, and it will continue to be. And we're not going to shy away from that. But as a whole, when you look at college athletics and specifically Oregon and what the O means, as you alluded to, Jordan, is really what do those memories bring up? I talked to a good friend of mine this morning on the way in, and he's having dinner with two buddies on Friday night, and they're going to come down to practice Saturday. And he's like, I met these guys. I mean, he met them actually before, but went to college together, and those memories. I just came back from a friend's trip with 7 of my fraternity brothers all at Oregon. We get to see each other once a year, but you can darn know well that we talked a lot about Ducks on that trip.
Like a reunion.
Yeah, totally. And so every school has that at some level, that camaraderie. And so it's not really selling. It's really talking about the memories you made and the not passion, but the what's the word I'm looking for? You almost want to protect it. It's yours. Like you put your time in there, whether it was getting your degree, whether it was an experience joining a house in the Greek life, whether it was playing rec sports, whether it was staying up late in the dorms talking to friends and they're lifelong friends now. There's this place that connects you, and we're fortunately that.
I don't know if you realize it, but you are a part of an industry in sport that gives people a chance to escape from the reality of life. Okay, football, basketball, track and field, whatever it is, when their team's playing, when something's going on with their team, they can put all those troubles and all those issues and whatever's going on behind them for 1, 2, 4, 6 hours on a Friday or a Saturday, whenever those games are. You're a part of that industry.
Well, we're a part of it.
We're a part of it. How does that make you feel? I mean, when you realize that you're helping people.
Yeah, fulfilled.
Yeah.
I mean, people ask me like, what do you do? And that's a long-winded answer sometimes. But we want to help people. We want to help others. Now, are we doing things that are life and death? No. I mean, all of us have gone through, whether it's, I was having a conversation with a colleague today who's just had a rough go with some family stuff. And, that's real. That's real.
Yeah.
But can we create ways at Oregon in this case to offset that and remove that? And for that hour, for that 2 hours, for that week, and create those memories. I have 2 kids, and I'd love taking my daughter to a game and just having her around it. If I'm living in Eugene and I'm a Duck alum or not, bringing them and showing them, again, back to that power of sport. And so we are fortunate enough to work in that industry, and it's our job to maintain that level, to create those memories and create that excitement. Pros and cons. You can learn about losing too. Yeah. And that's not a bad thing to learn about. No. How do you handle adversity?
Especially for young people.
You can also learn about how to be humble and modest when you win, and doing it the right way, and class and integrity. And so the list goes on.
You talk about that history with Oregon and how, there are different generations of Ducks. You and Jerry, more than me, have seen the change in Oregon, the change in Oregon athletics over the years. And a lot of what I think resonates with people is that tradition. And I think that people right now in this moment in college sports are really protective of that tradition and worried about where that's going. So I'm wondering if you could speak to that. Through all the change in college sports, I don't think anybody in this building, anybody in Eugene really doubts that Oregon's going to be relevant and playing big football games and basketball games. But what can you say about what can you say to the fans who are worried about preserving that tradition, those tailgates, against the schools from up north in Corvallis and Seattle that mean so much and that resonate with generations of Duck fans?
Well, I think this is a broader, holistic question, and that change is inevitable in life. I think there's, my parents, when they were raising me, there was only so much time you got to watch TV each day and to play video games, and you need to go outside and play and do
if
stuff.
you had a TV. Remember, I'm
right,
older
so
than
you could you could listen to radio. Well, did you have?
Oh, yes, we had. Okay, now we had radio.
Just want to make sure. But where I'm going with that is I'm looking at raising my kids with my wife, and we're sitting there saying, okay, tablet time. How much time do you get on the tablet? At the other end of it, the reality is they're going to need to know how to use tablets to keep up with society and try to be successful, whether that's in school, whether that's ultimately in business. So there's this, how do you find that balance? And the same thing goes with college athletics right now. It is changing, no question about it. But at the heart and soul of it, Oregon is still my alma mater. And I asked an elderly demographic, let's call it, who have been a long, long time supporters of Oregon athletics specifically, have put a number of resources, financially, emotionally, time, into Oregon athletics. And I asked them, I said, okay, say the college model goes away. Would you guys still come to the Duck games? They said, wouldn't miss it for the world. It's still our alma mater.
That's it.
And not everyone's going to be that way.
No.
I certainly acknowledge that. I mean, there's certain people, take it the last 10 years, we've had more night games than we did in the late 90s, right? Every game was at 12:30. Basketball was Thursday and Saturday night. It was very regimented. That changed. And certain people had to make a decision of, hey, I can't be a part of that. I'd be willing to bet they still watched it on TV, though, and still were proud to be Ducks, especially when we're doing our things at a high level and being successful. So I think like where I'm getting at is change is inevitable.
No doubt.
At times it's not always comfortable, but I would go back to that we all have this same bond, and that's the University of Oregon, not only athletics but Eugene and walking through our beautiful campus, and we got a really, really great leader leading the athletic department to make sure we're in a good place.
No doubt about it.
Yeah.
Well, I want to ask you about football. I want to ask you about the World Championships in Eugene. Can you stick around for one more segment?
Absolutely.
Okay, fantastic. We're coming back after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Hey Duck fans, we're all about protecting our home turf here in Eugene. You should do the same for your home with Country Financial Insurance. Most home insurance doesn't account for inflation, but with Country Financial, yours can. If something happens to your home, make sure you can rebuild the same house in the same place. Call a local representative or 866-COUNTRY and get a solid defense for your home. Home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Casualty Insurance Company, or Country Preferred Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois. Property must meet age and condition requirements, which vary by state.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union, onpointcu.com. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Opportunity.
Your daily dose of Oregon athletics. This is Duck Insider from Learfield.
We all want our kids to grow up safe and healthy, so we show them how. With honest conversations that let them know what we expect. That's especially important when it comes to alcohol and other drugs. And when it comes to pain medications, opioids, they need to know that they should never be shared with friends or family. For more information about talking with your kids about underage use of alcohol and other drugs, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov. We all make choices about alcohol. Kids make choices whether to drink or not.
Bye, Dad. Remember, I'm going to Alex's party tonight and sleeping over.
Hey, remind me about that party again?
And adults make choices whether to talk about it. That's true of parents and every other trusted adult in a kid's life. Kids want to know our expectations, and they want honest answers in everyday conversations. So talk with your kids and help lead them on a positive path, because when you talk, they hear you. Learn more at underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
Back here on Duck Insider, segment 2 with the Senior Associate Athletic Director H.J. Cohn. Thanks for being here with us.
We didn't get to finish. You're a Laker fan. You're from L.A. You're a Laker fan. I need to know the baseball.
Nationals fan. Washington Nationals.
What? What about the Dodgers?
Yeah, I grew up a Dodger fan. Obviously, Vin Scully was very inspirational.
All right.
I love listening to guys like Vin and Chick Hearn. I heard clips. I'm not old enough to have heard Chick Hearn.
Nationals.
Was it Chick or Chuck?
Chick.
It was Chick.
Well, I'm thinking Chuck something.
Chuck Woolery?
I don't know. Another guy.
He did one of those game shows. I don't know. Meanwhile.
Neither here nor there.
Back at the ranch.
So, yeah, we were just talking about my background during the break, so I had to be apologetic over my teams. Not a native Oregonian. But, hey, I want to talk about the only team that really matters right now. Or I don't know about the only team, but the one that everybody's focused on. We're just a couple weeks away from Georgia kickoff. And I was just sitting here wondering, just for my knowledge, I don't really know. What's the significance of a Georgia game for the Duck Athletic Fund, for the Oregon Athletic Department as a whole?
Yeah, I think the main thing that comes to my mind is, one, that we have a national fan base. And if you recall, Jerry, when we played Virginia, and nothing against Virginia football, but it was not a top-tier historical name such as a Georgia, defending national champs, but a top-tier program year in, year out. And we just had a ton of fans there from the East Coast. So you talk about the Florida Ducks and the New York Ducks and the Chicago and Dallas. We're fortunate enough to have that national brand and a school that attracts national students, and they graduate and go on, whether it's to Eugene, Portland, or beyond. And so I expect a national attendance, not from a sheer size compared to Georgia, certainly, when it's a couple hours away. But we sold out of our season, or not our season tickets, our ticket allotment in 48 hours, which was really exciting to see. In addition to that, I expect an uptick in ticket sales on the secondary market from that national footprint of alums and fans that we have. So, from a ticketing sales standpoint, I feel really good about it. But also just to compete at the highest level. And, that's a game that, again, everyone circled a long time ago, and then it just got heightened because of the Coach Lanning connection, defending national champions, Mercedes-Benz, Atlanta. It's just a big game, right? Kickoff. And so overall, you would like to think that Oregon continues to put ourselves in situations at a high level. It's like when women's basketball hosted UConn, or when Oregon's playing Duke in men's basketball. It's what we do. We want to compete at the highest level, see where we're at. It's a long season, but also put ourselves in position to get that experience with this team, and can't wait. I can't say enough how great of a leader we have in Coach Lanning and what he has built in a very short time there from a culture standpoint, from a buy-in standpoint, continuing the success on recruiting that's been built here. And then a teaching standpoint, he's an educator by trade, and people kind of forget that. He really does love teaching, and coaching and teaching go hand in hand, but he really comes from a background of teaching, and so I think it's really come together nicely.
What I really appreciate about Rob Mullins and his head coaches is that they understand that the fan base wants to see Oregon compete against those teams. And so Rob is not afraid to get a hold of a Georgia or whoever. In fact, most cases, no, we don't want to come out and play you, so no, you can't come play us.
Sure, yeah.
But Oregon is willing to step up and support those kinds of games for their fans. And that's something that I've always appreciated. And that's got to help you and the DAF and just the fan base in general, knowing you're going to continue to play those games.
Yeah, continue to add value to season tickets, to single game tickets. Kudos to Eric Rodell. Eric Rodell is behind the scenes on a lot of those scheduling pieces in multiple sports, and particularly the bigger ones that we're referencing right now. Eric's done a great job with the support of Rob and saying, move forward, and let's do this. And I think our coaches welcome it too. I mean, when you look at where we've been able to play, win or lose in the last, call it 10, 15 years, we've had some pretty big games across the fronts on all sports.
Yeah.
And we're not going to shy away from that.
Cool.
NIL. Run with it. What can you tell us? What can't you tell us? How is that? How is
NLI,
it changed?
National Letter of Intent? Is that what you meant?
That's exactly what I meant.
All right. Well, good. We'll talk about it.
How does that change
your
job?
It certainly impacts it. I mean,
do you have a sponsor yet? You were one of the top managers for Oregon basketball.
I used to have a haircut sponsor, but it's all going away quickly. So that sponsorship left the building very quickly. It's here. I mean, again, I talked about change is inevitable. Not everyone likes change. It's unique. It's here. I think Oregon is positioned well. Oregon Athletics, as an employee, I can't talk to donors about it, encourage them to do anything. So we actually are on the kind of outside of what's happening. I think everyone's familiar with Division Street, which is a group that is dedicated to Oregon student athletes. And what they do, I don't really get involved with because legally NCAA compliance cannot. And I certainly want to respect that. That being said, it's in conversations. We do talk about it when people are asking us about it, of what we can and can't do and can and cannot discuss. I think it's going to be here. It's something, again, if people don't like it, I understand it. Some people are saying, I do like it. I think this is how it should have been for a while.
It's part of that change that you were talking about.
Totally.
It's natural.
Yeah. So not a whole lot to give beyond that, but it is here, and that I think Oregon's positioned well with the likes of a Division Street supporting it.
We've not talked about track and field and what New Hayward Field, the by far premier facility in the world. Number of athletes, coaches, specialists have all said that. What did that mean to have the World Championships here to the University of Oregon, Eugene Springfield?
Well, I want to give a kudos to Vin Lanana. I mean, Vin had a vision a number of years ago to start with the Olympic trials and was behind the scenes on that, and then it really transpired to this dream of the Worlds. And when you go down the list of where the Worlds has been located, and certainly for those of you that don't follow track and field closely, very big in Europe, to bring it to the United States is one thing. And then when you put a little red dot on the map and say Eugene, Oregon's going to host this, and I remember sitting in a meeting with him 7-8 years ago and saying this is what's going to happen, we're going to do it. To see it come to life would not have been possible without him and many others. I don't want to discount others, but
certainly
really want to give pay homage to Vin and that vision. What it did for the community and the state as a whole was really special. I think something we couldn't really have envisioned until it got here, and you can't really describe it unless you're here in town. And certainly we all live here, so you just felt this energy and this buzz. And Tracktown USA was at its highest point and its peak during those 2 weeks and even the week leading up to it. I think, I was getting people texting me and calling me. One of the first days was the marathon, and they had these aerial shots of Priest Trail, Willamette River, the Willamette Valley. People are like, I think our real estate all went up because people are like, we got to move to Eugene. This place looks epic.
Right.
And so when you take that, and then for the athletes, what Hayward never had the proper grand reopening, if you will. It was never given that or afforded that because of COVID. And so this was really it. And you heard it from the athletes afterwards. Like, I have never competed in something like that. That was just special. And that's what I mean. You have to kind of be here to feel that buzz and what it did. Just proud. A ton of staff members internally in the Department of Athletics, on campus, and the university as a whole, and then local community partners up and down throughout the state was a big deal to put on a successful event.
Yeah, it's so magical in that moment, but you almost have to let it sit for a few weeks to really get a sense for how big it was, what it did for the community. Has there been enough time to hear from people around the world, the decision makers around the world, to get feedback about how this event actually went and whether Eugene would be a candidate to host again in the future?
Well, I think the potential candidacy of any event in Hayward just went up a notch. It's kind of like when you host a Garth Brooks in Autzen or when you host an Elton John at the arena. You really are adding to your resume and the capability to host something. Outside of that, no, none of us talked to each other for like a week and a half because we were sick of each other of months leading up and years leading up. It was like, I'm off the grid. Don't talk to me. I don't even want to text. I'm blocking your number because there was just so many people behind the scenes, especially on the facilities and ticketing side and operations, that you just can't really understand the hours they put in and the emotion they put in. And they take pride in it. That's something I'm really proud of from our department. Every staff member really takes pride in what they do to pull off a great event, to make that experience like we talked about, whether that was the person traveling from Europe, had never been to the United States or Oregon, but never misses the Worlds, to the local kid that was able to go to a session and see it at its full capacity in real life. So very cool.
Final question, comment, I guess. Earlier this week, I had a chance to talk to some radio back east, and their thought on what's going on with college football, and their thought was they had and the fans, the sky's falling. I said, the sky really isn't falling; it's cracked, but that's about it. Oregon is the brand that will support itself no matter what. The World Championships are a great example of how that brand goes beyond the United States, but is a world brand, which makes Oregon one of the strongest brands, whether it be college football, basketball, track and field, or anything. And you have that to work with.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, when you look at 2016, we have 2013, inception of Women in Flight, a program we have here that falls under the Duck Athletic Fund, and was created. And 2016, 3 years later, we're watching, I think it was in Rio, the Olympics,
yes.
I want to say.
Yeah.
And we have a female sprinter who comes out in the blocks and has a Women in Flight shirt on. And you're like, that's awesome.
Hey,
I mean,
world.
that just,
yeah.
The whole world's watching
Hey,
the Olympics. And little Eugene does it again, of Women in Flight tied to their Oregon athletics. And when you talk about that brand, and that's just one example, right? We can go for days talking about those. But when you look at what the Worlds did, again, we want to continue to build our momentum. We're not just going to stay stagnant in anything we do. And that's recreating an event. Signing Day, what we've done with Signing Day the last couple of years, call it 3 or 4 years, and partnering with an event at Nike and reinventing and rethinking of what that could look like is something new. And we're just going to continue to build on that momentum and try to improve every single day in everything we do, whether that's a ticket strategy to an event and external side of things to brand marketing and social. I think we were just talking offline. We had Matt Carney here at practice yesterday, and he very rarely gets to come back. And just for him to be around the team in practice and had so many questions, which was really fun to kind of talk to him about and get to say hi to people, and already established a relationship with Dan Lanning, who's never got to hear his song at the game, Wow. And so just those little things that you create is how do we continue to improve and get better, and that's what we're going to do.
He feels good about where he is. You feel good about where Oregon is.
Listen, from a high-level standpoint, I'm very confident, again, not only with our leadership and our department and staff, but I think Oregon's going to be just fine in the future. And everyone, RELAX, as Aaron Rodgers said, I think.
I think he did.
We're okay. Oregon's going to be good.
I feel reassured.
Yeah, I feel good. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for being here.
You.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for having me. Hopefully it wasn't too boring and off topic, but
very educational and entertaining.
Good.
We never got to
happy
to
be here.
Stories of managing basketball on the old Matt court, but next time.
Next time. I'll see you at the cooler at 4. Okay. Those stories stay there.
Okay.
Thanks again. We'll get a break. Matt Ulmer, the head coach of Oregon Volleyball, coming up after this break on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Now's the time to visit your local Toyota dealer and find yourself in a stylish and fuel-saving RAV4, Corolla, or Camry. Or climb behind the wheel of the rugged Tundra, Tacoma, and more. Toyota's national sales event is on. Toyota, let's go places.
At Shadow Hills Country Club, our all-inclusive event pricing allows us to take care of all of the details while you enjoy your event. Our wedding garden, expansive grounds, ballroom, and meeting rooms can accommodate any size event and come complete with full catering and service staff. From weddings to business and social events, Shadow Hills offers the benefits of a resort atmosphere and the peace of a country setting just minutes from downtown Eugene. For more details, call us today or go to shadowhillsevents.com.
Now's the time to visit your local Toyota dealer and find yourself in a stylish and fuel-saving RAV4, Corolla, or Camry. Or climb behind the wheel of the rugged Tundra, Tacoma, and more. Toyota's national sales event is on. Toyota, let's go places.
You're listening to Duck Insider. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Meet Ed, movie buff, animal lover, safe driver.
5 years of driving an ambulance teaches you a thing or two. If people knew what I know, lives could be saved. When I see a car trying to rush past a turning bus, I get concerned. You see, when big vehicles turn right, they have to swing wide to make the turn. And that's a lesson you don't want to learn the hard way. When trucks and buses turn, let's you and I wait.
It's our roads. It's our safety. Visit www.sharetheroadsafely.gov.
I've been driving trucks for a long time. Safety is my #1 priority. I know that my truck has huge blind spots. That's why I remember to check my mirrors often for smaller vehicles. Everyone can help keep our roads safe. Next time you're behind the wheel, try to avoid lingering in those blind spots. It can be dangerous. Let's all plan to share the road safely. Learn how at www.sharetheroadsafely.gov.
Back to Duck Insider, coming back in the Country Financial Studio, as always brought to you by On Point Community Credit Union, joined by the head coach of Oregon Volleyball, Matt Ulmer.
I feel like we should come up with some sort of handshake.
Yeah, okay.
What do you want to do?
So Joey, I noticed, does it left-handed with you.
Yeah, left in and then right as we exit.
Okay, so I'm also ambidextrous, so that works for me.
So why don't we start right, and then we'll leave left.
Okay, you
so
lead the way.
We're going to go here, here, and then boom, and then at the end, we'll do that lefty.
We'll do the same thing.
But lefty.
I don't know how coordinated I am. All right, let's try it. Let's try it live.
I think it'll be good.
Oh, we're not even going to practice?
Oh,
Let's
want
do one practice, and then we'll leave with it as well.
With the left?
Well, we're going to do it just how you said it. So we'll start with the right.
Boom, boom, yep, bam, and then there it is. You got it, and we're good.
We're good to go.
See
That's
you, Joseph.
Matt Ulmer.
That's it.
Volleyball coach, handshake connoisseur.
I'm a teacher. Do you see?
I am noticing. I'm picking that up.
That's what I do.
Well, the goal today for me is to talk a little bit of volleyball with you.
That's a good goal.
Can we accomplish that?
How's your day so far? Good?
It's good.
Okay.
I had some coffee. I put a little chocolate milk in my coffee. I don't know about you.
I noticed that you're here.
I'm here.
Does that mean something?
I think it means something, yeah. Joey Mack is officially a father.
Oh, my gosh.
So, yep.
Congratulations to his wife.
Big congratulations to Lizzie. Joey, I hope you're being very nice to Lizzie and the new baby. That's the only fatherly advice I have. I'm not a father.
Yeah, I think I need to hear if he said any jokes, if he behaved himself.
Yeah.
I'll be on pins and needles until that.
Yeah, he took your advice, by the way, to not say any jokes during the birthing process.
Okay.
And he regurgitated that piece of information to almost every interview he had after you came in the studio. He was telling it to athletic directors, other coaches. So he really took that to heart.
Unfortunately, it's really good advice. I just had to learn it the hard way.
I don't think he'll admit it in person with you because of the dynamic.
But this is why we need witnesses.
Yep, I'm a fly on the wall for you. I'm a spy.
I appreciate
in enemy territory.
Good. All right, I feel a little bit better about myself today.
Okay, good. Okay, well, the Green-Yellow Scrimmage coming up on Saturday.
Yep.
Why don't you tell fans what it's all about? It's an annual event, first chance to see the team in live action, and it's open to season ticket holders.
Yeah, and this year we're making it just for season ticket holders instead of open to everybody. A big goal of mine is that our season ticket holders, that we continue to grow. I think we've had a great team for, this will be my 6th season, and I think this group should be supported, and just want to continue to grow our fan base. Our sport is growing; it's growing everywhere, and this is a place that we have such great representation. And again, this is a group that you're going to want to see. Season tickets are starting as low as $49. We have 12 matches plus the scrimmage. And 7 of those matches are against teams that are ranked in the top 25 or receiving votes. Right on it.
7 Pac-12 teams appearing in the AVCA preseason poll, not to mention some of the other teams on the schedule who are in the top 25. It's a bang for your buck deal. I mean, you're seeing volleyball at the highest level, and a team led by obviously Brooke Nuneviller, but some exciting newcomers like Hannah Pukas coming from the Cougars. I bet it's nice as a coach to not have to prepare to play Hannah Pukas anymore. She's a Duck, and she can help you guys out this year.
She did a couple things in practice the other day, and I go, I'm happy she's doing that now here, because it's like I know that. I recognize that.
I was scanning briefly at some of her numbers last year, and her numbers against the Ducks in Pullman. She was a special player, and a player like that can maybe even unlock some of the other outside hitters, middle blockers, opposites that you have on your roster this year, and maybe take other players to a new level too.
Yeah, I think the setting in our gym is really good right now. So her and Elise Ferrer right now are taking the bulk of the sets, and they're both playing really well. Elise was really good in the spring. Hannah is a really special talent also. And so just seeing them both, our gym is very competitive. Both sides are being run really well. And so, every day as everybody's getting more and more used to each other and the connections are growing, the level keeps growing. And so it's fun to watch.
It's going to be fun to watch, no doubt about it. So the scrimmage this weekend, but we're still only the season's right around the corner, 11 days away. So take me through those next 11 days. What has to get done? How is the team practicing?
Yeah, I think it's just every day we need to continue to get better. I mean, there's things every day we've been scrimmaging about 2 sets. So just to continue to move lineups around, kind of see what our options are, how people work together. I don't know if we're going to, by opening weekend, if we'll know exactly what our starting lineup is. I think there's still going to be moving pieces, and hopefully maybe all year. That's because everybody's just competing, and there's a lot of really talented players. So, but we're going to try to get as close as possible to that as we can, but also not beat them up too much. So we're trying to be smart with our jumps and our practice times, and we're a bit of an older group. We have some youth, but a lot of what do we have in real life? It'd be 4 fifth years and 3 seniors, so 7 that are seniors or older. So trying to be mindful of that and just make sure every rep counts.
That's a really interesting dynamic, and I think a super valuable thing to have as a coach. In a way, you probably have multiple coaches on the floor at all times, which can be useful. How have you seen so far, just in practicing for the season, that experience come through in practice? Where are you seeing that leadership, that experience come together?
Yeah, I think if standards aren't being met, I don't have to say anything. It's like that huddle's being taken over or brought in to talk about before I even get a chance to. And I think that's really good for everybody, where they're the ones holding the standards, they're the ones saying we can do better, or encouraging each other to make better choices or be more prepared. And I think that's the goal for any coach, is that I get to sit back and I'm here if you need me type thing,
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, part of those returners, let's talk offense for a second. A lot of the kill production for the Ducks is back. The top 4 killers from last year back on this team. As a coach, that's got to be pretty exciting, where you kind of have a lot of known quantities and you could spend the off season. And by the way, you probably got more practice in this off season than others.
Oh, yeah.
Just getting even better than what you had last year.
Yeah, and our defense was the best in the pack last year. So for us, if we are going to make a big jump to make a deep run and have a chance to win championships, we have to score the ball at a much better rate. So, I think it starts with our setting. We are already, I think, the best passing team in the country. And again, that's, Brooke is in the USA gym as a libero. She's the only one with eligibility with Karch in the national team gym. So, and that's not even your libero. And then Georgia Murphy, is statistically the best passer. And, so between the two of them, it's, that's great. And you're trying to find out who that third passer is going to be. So that sets you up. And right now we have Becca Morse is doing a great job. Elisa Gee's doing a great job. Mimi Collier's out there, as a freshman and getting better everyday passing. So, we have, I think that's a strength of ours. The setters are doing a great job. And now it's, where to put everybody. What's the best routes we can run? Where are we going to be the most comfortable, and how to use everybody. And like you said, Carson Bacon returns, who is a single season hit percentage leader last year, in our program's history. And Gloria Muteri has been an all-region, all-American mention. Morgan Lewis had the best spring probably of anybody. And then you have Brooke Nuneviller. So we have, and then 3 other middles that are all really dynamic, really good. So again, how are we going to put them together? We're going to find out, but it's great to have options.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And those are the types of things and the conversations that get figured out as the season progresses. You're not going to learn everything from the scrimmage on Saturday, but
right.
Focusing in on that scrimmage, what do you as a coach expect to see from the group? What do you want to see from the group on Saturday?
Yeah, I think it's one thing when you're in practice, but it's a really different environment now when you have people there. And the lights, the game lights are on.
No doubt.
And to see how we're going to react. And, there's people that will rise up, in those moments. And there's others that maybe don't have that same energy or confidence in a match, that they do in practice. So, we're going to hopefully discover some of that. And so who are our best competitors going to be, who really wants to be in those moments. And I think my biggest goal would be we just want to find our best fighting, toughest group, that's going to go out every day and give everything they can. And I think if we do that, we're going to be really successful.
Do you think that applies to the coaching staff as well? Do you get those first scrimmage jitters anymore? Or
I think
have you ever gotten them?
Every practice jitter.
Really?
So, no. I mean, it's just you're excited. You're excited to be in the gym. And, if you have good people around you, you just want to do the best you can for them. And you want them to be successful. So I think we will be prepared. So it's a matter of now, do we go out and execute? So, I get jitters, definitely. Yeah, but I think they're good. So
I think so too.
I think it's good jitters.
I think it means that you care. You're a teacher and you care.
Yeah. Thanks. Like our handshake.
All right. Well, let's do it.
We ready?
I got to get rid of you here.
Okay, that's fine. All right, left now.
Oh, we're starting left.
So you just go right in the beginning, and then we go left to end. It's the first. It's first time.
Okay.
It's okay. Yeah, that's fine. So left. There you go. Bam. Boom. Yes. And that's it.
Matt Ulmer.
That's it.
Oregon Volleyball scrimmage on Saturday, open to the season ticket holders. You know what that means.
Yep.
Get season tickets. You're going to see a lot
season tickets.
Just
come support this group. Promise.
They're going to be really good this year, I think.
It's a good group.
Okay. Matt Ulmer joining us on Deck and Saturday. Let's get a break. We'll come back with more after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
You're excellent.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union, onpointcu.com. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Opportunity.
Hey Duck fans, we're all about protecting our home turf here in Eugene. You should do the same for your home with Country Financial Insurance. Most home insurance doesn't account for inflation, but with Country Financial, yours can. If something happens to your home, make sure you can rebuild the same house in the same place. Call a local representative or 866-COUNTRY and get a solid defense for your home. Home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Casualty Insurance Company, or Country Preferred Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois. Property must meet age and condition requirements, which vary by state.
This is Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
I found hope in the midst of an overwhelming situation.
Alcoholism is a disease that can affect any family. Everyone suffers, but there is help and hope at Al-Anon Family Groups.
Al-Anon gave me my life back. I'm a better father and husband.
Are you in an overwhelming situation because of someone else's drinking?
Al-Anon and Alateen can help.
Local and virtual meetings are available. Maybe one could work for you. Call 1-866-200-0033 or visit alanon.org/hope.
Medicaid and CHIP offer free or low-cost health coverage for children and teens. Hospital and doctor visits, prescriptions, shots, and more are covered. That's peace of mind for parents if a child is sick or gets injured. And parents may now be eligible for Medicaid too, even if they've applied in the past. Enrollment is always open. Visit InsureKidsNow.gov or call 1-877-KIDS-NOW. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Welcome back to Duck Insider. Jordan Brenner in the Country Financial Studio, as always, brought to you by On Point Community Credit Union. I see a question coming in here on Facebook about whether the Green-Yellow Scrimmage this weekend for Oregon Volleyball will be streamed. The answer is no. The only way is to buy season tickets. And by the way, it's a very fair deal that they're offering, as you heard from Coach Ulmer there just a second ago. I will say, though, that Oregon soccer will be on Pac-12 networks for their opener this Thursday at 5 p.m., or you can tune in to Ryan Milano, who is really happy about that shout-out on the broadcast for the student radio station KWVA. Dana Altman spoke with the media earlier today. We were hoping to get to the entirety of what was a long interview today. We'll get to as much of it as we can today, and then we'll hit the rest tomorrow. Here's the head coach of men's basketball, Dana Altman.
Kind of outlook with get another contract extension and obviously some great successes you guys have in recruiting right now?
Well, first of all, I'm very appreciative of the support from the university. Outgoing President Schill, who was great to our staff and our program, and then Rob, who's been behind us, and the people who support us, So it's been a good 12 years. We obviously want to get back to the Final Four. We want to try to win a title, and that's always been our goal. And so, getting young men that want to follow that and having a staff that has that as a goal is what we're committed to. So, we just keep scratching and hope that we get a break and keep everybody healthy and make a run again. But really appreciative of the support, and I came here to coach as long as I could, and I enjoy it. And when you have great staff and good players to work with, it makes it fun coming to work every day.
So early on the workouts, but have you seen any significant improvement by some of the guys?
Yeah, I have. Nate Biddle, first of all. And I was after Nate all last year. He and I had more conversations about playing harder, working harder. But I'm really pleased with his efforts. He's bringing it to practice, trying to play through some bumps and bruises, working on his body a little bit. So he's made a big jump. Dante's healthy, which has been a problem for him. Tendonitis when he got here his freshman year, tears his ACL as sophomore, doesn't get back till December, So in all fairness to him, we've never had an opportunity, first of all, for a summer. I've used it as an excuse, complaint, whatever, but 20 summer, we don't have anything because of COVID. Last summer, we were still shut down. We didn't get much done. And he was ACL surgery, so he wasn't doing anything anyway. We haven't got anything done the last 2 summers, and I think it's affected our team. And this has back to pre-COVID. We're back to having a great summer. Dante's healthy, flying around. Quincy's healthy. He was nursing knees last year. He didn't get anything done last summer. Will didn't get anything done last summer. And Will's been really good, trying to lead. So those 4 guys that are back, I've appreciated Waldo's efforts. He's done a great job. So, no, we got 7 guys coming back, and 7 scholarship, 3 walk-ons that are back, and those guys have been really good. They've tried to set a good tone, and so I think they've done a good job.
You've had some coaching turnover too. The new guys in the program, also the return of Fish. Just your thoughts on your offseason with your staff and the additions you've had.
Well, I was really happy for Crutch, to get the job back at University of Nebraska in Omaha. I was really happy for Josh, to go with Kenny. Those guys, Crutch for only 1 year, but Josh for 12, and before that with Coach Kent, he's been here a long time, so he meant a lot to the program. So I was really glad for both those guys, and with that came some opportunities for us to look at our staff and see what we could do to improve it. And put everybody in their strengths. It's changing. The landscape's changing. The recruiting's changing. And Chuck Martin, we hired from South Carolina. Armand Gates from Nebraska. Coach Fish, Brian Fish, will take over Josh's job. We hadn't replaced Robert McCullum, who did a tremendous job for us before he got the Florida A&M head coaching job. And so, I moved Kevin into that role. Kevin's got a great basketball mind, and, I just, to be real honest, I need more help, game development and player development, and I've had to spend more time recruiting, and that I need to spend more time with the guys I got.
Dana Altman talking with the media. We'll get to more of that interview tomorrow. A lot more interviews coming tomorrow, including Dan Lanning, who's going to be talking to the media today after practice. We'll get a break and wrap up after this. It's Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
At Shadow Hills Country Club, our all-inclusive event pricing allows us to take care of all of the details while you enjoy your event. Our wedding garden, expansive grounds, ballroom, and meeting rooms can accommodate any size event and come complete with full catering and service staff. From weddings to business and social events, Shadow Hills offers the benefits of a resort atmosphere and the peace of a country setting just minutes from downtown Eugene. For more details, call us today or go to shadowhillsevents.com.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union, onpointcu.com. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Opportunity.
More Duck Insider coming up on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
The United States Deputy Sheriff's Association is a national nonprofit and the largest non-governmental provider of services to law enforcement. The USDSA assists city, county, state, and federal agencies with free safety equipment donations and officer survival training, along with cash donations to families of law enforcement officers who perish in the line of duty, college scholarships for the children of law enforcement, a citizen awareness program, and more. For more information on the USDSA and how you can help, visit usdeputy.org.
You're never completely ready to adopt a teen.
For late nights writing English papers.
For your teen's music taste.
For dinners, where they talk more on their phone than with you.
For the first time, they call you mom.
You're never completely ready to adopt a teen, and you can't imagine the reward.
To learn more about adopting a teen, visit adoptuskids.org.
Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Duck Insider here in the Country Financial Studio. Duck Insider is brought to you by On Point Community Credit Union. A few more minutes here left on the show. We'll get to the remainder of the first half of Dana Altman's interview here before we got to get out of here.
Multiple former assistants now in those capacities. Is this part of a long-term plan on your part in terms of, like, we saw you guys play Baylor last year. It was almost comical in that their bench was, I think they have more guys on the bench in suits than players. It was kind of ridiculous. But if they lift the limits, you could have seemingly a limitless staff. So is this kind of part of the long-term chess match you're playing here?
Okay, so like September recruiting, our guys will be back on campus the 15th of September. But it's a recruiting period. I'm going to be gone. That's home visits. So I'm gone a lot during September. Knowing that Kevin can run individuals and run stuff while I'm gone because he knows our system is really good. You know, having Fish, who can be on the floor also if two guys are gone, knowing our system. And so, you know, I'm not the smartest guy, but trying to figure out things that, you know, how they apply to our team. And that's why, you know, it's so important to have Kevin in that position, because if he was gone and we had new guys, you know, the new staff, there's a lot of things we're doing that are new, but most of the stuff we're doing has been done in previous seasons, and Kevin's got a great feel for that, and so does Fish. You know, so when the staff is gone, with the rules the way they are now, they can go on the floor and coach. So it does help us.
What have you seen from so far, and what you hope to see in this Canadian trip with three-point shooting in particular, when that was such a point of emphasis and an area you wanted to address this offseason?
Well, first of all, we got to get Will some shots. You know, he's so we got to have some guys make some shots for him. You know, Brennan shot it really well. Rigsby, new player. Jermaine Couchnard is a good shooter. Nate's shooting it better. Quincy's shooting it a lot better. So, you know, I think we've got very capable three-point shooters. We took some questionable threes last year, which drove me nuts. You know, there's such a fine line there. You don't want to take guys' confidence.
We'll get to the rest of Dana Altman tomorrow. Meanwhile, we got to get out to practice. Dan Lanning going to be talking to the media. Brandon Dorlus, some others talking to the media. We'll have those interviews for you tomorrow on Duck Insider, as well as Rob Mosley checking in, talking some Duck football, his takeaways from camp. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Alex Stimson. Go Ducks. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Victor deployed for the first time to Afghanistan in 2003. He sustained a moderate traumatic brain injury. One of the most important elements of caregiving is taking care of yourself.
For many military veteran caregivers, their caregiving journey starts earlier in life and lasts longer. Visit aarp.org/caregiving for a free military veterans guide to navigate your caregiving journey and better care for your loved one and yourself. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
When you're high, you feel different. You think different, you talk different, you draw different.